This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
The 2024 legal year opens today. Constitutional Office urged to investigate Connect PNG program. And vote of no confidence will not fix the country, says Polier. A very good evening. This is National Emtv News. I'm Tamara Agavi. Thank you for joining us. In a significant event marking the start of the legal year, the National Judicial Services held the event today at the Bethel Tabernacle of Praise in Port Moresby. Chief Justice Sir Gibbs Salika, in his address, emphasized the critical importance of upholding the rule of law.
During the judicial year opening service, Sir Gibbs Salika emphasized the crucial role of police as the most visible representation of government authority. Stressing the importance of maintaining law and order, Salika acknowledged the recent shortcomings as urged law enforcement to uphold constitution and execute their duties impartially.
The laws of Papua New Guinea are underpinned by the constitution, which is the supreme law in Papua New Guinea. As all of us here in this audience, we all know that. Human progress and development are connected, and a better Papua New Guinea involves such sustainable approaches. For society to function, most people have to obey the laws for reasons of conscience, conviction, and love.
He called upon the judiciary to fulfill its duties with respect and dignity, emphasizing that defending the rule of law, the bedrock of justice, requires unwavering courage.
The court recognizes the weak implementation and reform of laws that impact on the effectiveness of the progress, the effective administration of justice, and the rule of law in this country, all of which pose negativity on PNG's long-term stability, security, and economic gain and growth. We have recently increased our number of judges.
James Cooken, National Emtv News.
Constitutional officers in the country have been urged to carry out an independent investigation into the Connect PNG program. This is following concerns raised by the members of Parliament, labeling the program as a scam. Reiterating on the Connect PNG scam, the former Prime Minister and member for Yalibu Pangia, Peter O'Neill, calls on the constitutional office holders to act in the public interest and investigate the matter.
So we are calling on these constitutional office holders to act in the public interest. They must go in there and take control and inspect the accounts, what these accounts are for. We are hearing of large chunks of cash being withdrawn from these accounts. Why is the banks allowing this to proceed? When we know that they are transporting during the elections millions of kina in cash around the country. When we have record number of petitions on elections, over 100 I think. We need to take these issues very seriously, because if we continue to allow this to happen in this country, we are going to be just simply like one of the African countries.
He emphasized that constitutional office holders are there to protect abuses against the executive government and further reminded them of their role.
That's why it is important that this scam, and not only me who is speaking out against it, there are many other leaders like Governor Alan Bird and others have already spoken. Why are they given billions of kina worth of contract without proper tendering, without proper procurement process? So we are urging our constitutional office holders, you are there to protect abuses, against abuse like this from executive governments. They need to step up. The positions that they are paid for is to protect public interest.
Echoing the same sentiment, the member for Sinisine Yongumuk, Kerengakua, further calls on the office to commence investigation, highlighting that the issue is of significance to the country.
5 billion kina, 1.7 to one company and 3.5 to another company. Are these companies at arm's length to those people in high places in government? Are they at arm's length? Or are they closely related? It's a very important issue. Because if they are closely related, there's a possible inference of a backhand connection somewhere. This is a question this country needs to ask and is entitled to an answer. We need to know where all this money is being routed. So those are very important questions. And I'm really concerned to see that just two companies have picked up 5 billion kinas worth of contract. What sort of a big player? Multinational corporation, yeah? One kind of multinational corporation, bro, yeah? Sin tripla contract. Umblo America, Bechtello, one is in. That's the first point that I want to make. We need to elaborate on this. It's a big scam having massive impact throughout the country. We need to look at all its implications. That's number one.
These calls were made at the news conference in Port Moresby yesterday. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
The Treasury Department has been urged to give clarification towards the manner in which the funding for the Connect PNG program was made to the contractors, as there were concerns on a possible breach of the Constitution. This concern was highlighted by the member for Sinisine Yongumul Kerengakua in a news conference in Port Moresby yesterday.
Concerns have been again raised towards the manner in which the contractors have been engaged in the Connect PNG program. Kerengakua, member for Sinisine Yongumuk, demands answers from the Treasurer regarding the funding for the Connect PNG program, as he believes that there is a breach in the Constitution.
My question is that, let's say, assuming we round it off to 10 billion kina of debt, my question is, did the Treasurer include this 10 billion kina debt into his total debt reckoning for the purposes of compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which puts a limit that your debt, total debt at any given time, must not exceed 65% of your gross domestic product? Did they ever factor this 10 billion kina debt into that reckoning? If they didn't, we are seriously in breach.
He further stressed on the possible impact.
He's asking, did we take that into account? Because you know what, your future ability to finance social welfare programs throughout the country will be impacted if you didn't properly account for your total debts. Because for every kina you earn, you're going to spend under the Act 65 toya to account for your debts, 65 toya. Only 35 toya available for development and recurrent budget and development budget and so on. That's not fair, isn't it?
Supporting Mr. Kua's concern was the member for Hiri Koyari, Kit Idu, who then shed light into the importance of constitution that is crucial to holding the country together.
This country's future is at the crossroads. You see, we are only a country because of the Constitution. And if we do not recognize the spirit and the express provisions of the Constitution, then we should not be a country. Section 209 of the Constitution is clear. It provides that an Act of Parliament should put through budgetary aspirations of a country. And if this sort of spending is done off the books, and if it is not done properly through procurement processes under the NPC Act, then that leaves a lot wanting in terms of governance by the ruling government.
Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
Prime Minister James Marape has slammed the former Prime Minister and Yalibu Pangia MP Peter O'Neill's accusation towards the Papua New Guinean contractors, highlighting that this has tainted their reputation. The Prime Minister defended the local contractors in a media statement released yesterday afternoon.
Prime Minister James Marape, when rebutting accusations made by the former Prime Minister Peter O'Neill in regards to awarding of contracts to companies close to him, stated that the former Prime Minister has a far shadier and dishonest reputation of awarding contracts to his own companies during his time as Prime Minister. Marape indicated that Mr. O'Neill, since he took over from him as Prime Minister in May 2019, has been using any and every opportunity to discredit his integrity. Prime Minister Marape said he has no shareholding in companies like Ipwans and others, as claimed by Mr. O'Neill. Marape then emphasized that he, however, encourages local companies in the construction space. He further mentioned that he had no knowledge of where Mr. O'Neill got his figures from and then using them to make serious allegations against contractors without verification from the Department of Works and Highways. He further added that Ipwans and the companies O'Neill has made serious allegations against fairly bid for and were awarded contracts by the Department of Works and Highways, and stated that these companies operate in some of the most rugged and forgiving terrain in the country, and it is not proper to have the former Prime Minister to stain their reputation. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
Police Commissioner David Manning has been urged by the parliamentarians to carry out his job diligently and start the arrest of the beneficiaries involved in the Paul Paraka legal bill fiasco. These concerns were raised following a statement made by the former Deputy Secretary for Finance during a legal proceedings, where it was revealed that the Deputy Secretary was given directives from the people attaining higher positions to make the payments to Paraka's law firm.
The re-emerging story of the Paul Paraka legal bill fiasco has prompted concern from the certain leaders, where they are questioning the role of the police hierarchy into the investigation of the matter. This was raised by the member for Sinisine Yongumug.
The police commissioners, number of them over 10, 14 years' time, why didn't they complete that process? Especially Commissioner Manning. He's been sitting in that hot seat for, I think, 4 years now. 4 years is a long time. Why didn't he reactivate those files, wipe the dust off, and bring it to the sunlight and do his job? Why didn't he do that?
Mr. Kua calls on the police to bring forth the beneficiaries and allow the court to have the last say.
If there are other people who benefited from it, why is the police not investigating that side of it, the beneficiaries, people who shared from it? Paraka is up there in Bomana. It's not hard to find him. Why doesn't the police go up there, talk to him and tell him, are there anybody else you paid, or did you use up that money all by yourself?
He then calls on the Police Commissioner David Manning to fully exercise his role in that matter and do his job diligently.
So I'm calling upon the Police Commissioner, do your job. Wake up from your sleep. That's what I'm asking of the Police Commissioner. You know, every time it comes to important political leaders, police always goes to sleep. Why is that? When it comes to small people, they get belted up with fan belt, coffee stick, kind something. All stealing biscuit or like salim boilo market or one is something. All in big plus bagrap. Now, man stealing big plus something, you know what you mean.
Member for Abau Se Pukatemu shared the same sentiments.
Files are it's in court. It's already processed in court. Evidence has been submitted. Just requires you to direct one of your officers to compile the file, and then that's it. Lay charges.
These concerns were raised following a statement made by the former Deputy Secretary for Finance during a legal proceedings where he revealed that he was given directives from the people attaining higher position to make the payments to the Paracas law firm. This was during the O'Neill's regime where the Finance Minister is the current Prime Minister James Marape and Treasurer is Don Pollier, the Minister for Higher Education and Sports. Sharon Engnui, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. A senior politician and state minister has said the vote of no confidence will not fix the country. Minister for Sports and Deest, Don Pollier, made these remarks when asked by the media on the looming vote of no confidence in a recent press conference.
Minister Pollier was commenting on the events of 10 January when chaos broke out in the city after police in the nation's capital protested over issues with their pay. He says those members of parliament who used that event as an excuse to jump ship were shallow.
There's something more serious here. Come on. Let's sit down and meditate and let's look at it, contemplate upon it, and let's fix it. Coming together is the way to addressing a solution here, to finding a solution. But resigning from government to saying, using this reason is shameful to me. I left a government before because a government was purposely getting a loan that I saw would destroy a government, a country.
Pollier says the riots and looting in the city was an indicator that something is wrong in our society, which is far greater than politics.
That means there's something far bigger wrong than just changing a government. There's something chronically wrong within society, the culture of men, maybe into the family homes we live, maybe our mindset. There's something far bigger wrong in the conscience of men in Papua New Guinea than just changing a government. You can change Marape. Will that change? The looting and other will it change? See, don't back up the wrong tree.
He says regardless of who is Prime Minister, what happened on Black Wednesday could have happened under any Prime Minister.
Public servants are stealing freezers and things like this from all those root stores. Did you not see them? Educated public servants like you people, who are educated and who would have been expected to be enlightened people who should say no to the wrong thing. They are involved in looting. And you call this country a Christian country. You call this country a civilized country. No, we cannot be. There's something that we must address, and address fundamentally correctly.
The minister says politicians should focus on the problem rather than moving around and blame the Prime Minister over the actions of individuals who lack moral principles.
And do you think vote of no confidence is a solution? No.
Edson Kuso, National Emtv News.
In a recent media conference, Commissioner of Police David Manning gave an update on the police recruitment and cadet training at the Bomana Center of Excellence.
Commissioner of Police David Manning said the training of the police recruits and cadets are progressing well. The police recruits are expected to graduate around March or April this year after the new recruit intake goes in. Commissioner Manning said the new intake of cadet should begin at the end of 2024 or beginning of 2025.
The cadet intake, it's a 3-year course, so we're probably looking at the new cadet intake by the end of the year, if not the start of next year. But it's progressing well. Thank you.
Commissioner Manning stated that he has utmost confidence in those who will be passing out of the Bomana Center of Excellence because they are the new face and has new attitude, and they will be more professional in the police force.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. But in saying that, I would like to say 90%, 95%, 98% of our organization, members of our organization, still value the oath and they take it seriously. It's just the 1 or 2% that need to be reminded.
Commissioner David Manning made this statement after his reinstatement as the Commissioner of Police last week. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
The Simbu provincial government has purchased 10 brand new vehicles which were donated to the various institutions in the province. Apart from the vehicles, an additional 8 million kina was capitalized towards improving educational infrastructures in the province.
This is part of the provincial government's commitment towards boosting the education sector in the province. According to Simbu Governor Noah Cool, these vehicles will assist school inspectors to visit schools in the province more often to see how they progress. Moreover, he stated that this is also an investment towards the human resource of the province that will increase productivity. Sharing similar sentiments is the provincial administrator John Punde, who stated Simbu is a mountainous province to grow cash crops for larger economic activities, and thus they depend solely on human resource. Hence, the purpose of these donations is to make sure inspectors carry out their duties and children have the best education for a better Simbu tomorrow. Principal Advisor Education Division Kutna Bebwik thanked the Simbu provincial government for these donations and assured the governor and PA that she will make sure all inspectors actively perform their duties. Gladys Killer, National Emtv News.
The people of Umba in Minyama district of Marape province have all the reason to be happy as they witness the opening of a new community health post that was commissioned on the 30th of January.
This is the 10th health facility built and completed through the support of the Australian government. More than 10,000 people from the Umba area will benefit from this newly built community aid post. Pregnant mothers will no longer have to walk long distances or travel on bumpy roads to get to health services. Community Health Post Umba will provide maternal and child health services, including antenatal care, supervised bed deliveries, well baby clinics, and treatment of minor wounds and illnesses. Umba CHP is part of the network of health facilities in Marape, supporting the Menyama District Hospital and Enga Provincial Hospital. The HSSDP is a joint initiative between PNG and Australia and the Asian Development Bank, Minister for Health Dr. Lino Tom, and Vice Minister for Treasury and Member for Menyama Solen Loifa, and Dr. Lara Andrews, representative of the Australian Eye Commission. Gladys Killer, National Emtv News.
Medical students attending the Rumginai Nursing College in the North Fly district of Western Province have been urged to do well in their studies. The school held its 2024 academic year dedication service at the Rumginai station, 28 kilometers along the Kiunga-Tabubil highway recently.
So they can commit their time studying.
In welcoming the 22 new intakes undertaking diploma in general nursing and 33 new intakes undertaking community health worker studies, students and staff members participated in a dedication service. Students have been urged to maintain their performances to be competent health professionals. School board member Mr. William Bang told the students that health services are important in rural areas and existing health institutions are open for students to become health professionals. He has encouraged students to make use of learning facilities that are provided at the school to gain more skills and knowledge.
Take ownership and responsibility for your learning. Rumginai School of Nursing has the basic facilities and resources available to enhance your learning. Your duty is to use these facilities and resources in a responsible manner to achieve your goal.
He added that the process of educating and training health professionals is a shared responsibility. Therefore, all partners should equally play their part to support the nursing college in Western Province. A new lecturer in general nursing program who will be teaching at this school starting this academic year, Andrew Wandenai, told the students to be punctual in their studies.
So inside a training blow, almost 3 plus something. 1, attitude blow. 2, skills blow. 3, knowledge blow. So we are training nurses to be competent in skills, in knowledge, and attitude. The 3 areas plus.
He said the academics will continue to impart their knowledge to students to ensure required education is delivered to them. The Rumgunai Nursing College commenced diploma in general nursing courses in 2023, and this year will be its second year to continue nursing programs. Therefore, both the continuing students and the new intakes have commenced their classes starting today. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
And now to the NESFAN market report. The kina closed lower at $0.2670 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2595, 0.3957 Australian dollars, 0.233 euro, and 38.18 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa, copra and palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed lower. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Moving to overseas news, one person was arrested and others dispersed by police after a group of Pride protesters clashed with police in Melbourne yesterday.
We saw paint thrown at police officers, protesters chanting anti-police slogans, and then at one point briefly violence as police attempted to push the protesters off the street here in St Kilda at the annual Midsummer Pride March yesterday. There were some 10,000 participants in the Pride March here yesterday, among them a group of 100 uniformed police officers taking part in the march, and they were the target of this protest, with a group of about 50 people joining the march, some with banners, some chanting, attempting to block the police from marching, culminating to those clashes and then the arrest of a 34-year-old man for alleged assault. Chief Commissioner Shane Patton was here yesterday. He spoke after the event. He's labelled the group an ugly rabble. He says he has nothing but contempt for the protesters. What he says was a premeditated move on the police. One of the protesters we spoke to here yesterday said they were protesting the participation of police in the march at all, given that the Pride movement started as a protest in large parts against police brutality. Midsummer's CEO said it was disappointing and the behaviours on both sides, the protesters and the police yesterday, appeared to be escalating the clashes. She says she'll be looking to have more conversations with those involved in the days ahead.
The United Kingdom says Iran will be held accountable for the actions of armed groups it is supporting and funding in the Middle East.
It's becoming a familiar sight. RAF Typhoon jets taking off last night for a bombing raid on Houthi targets in Yemen. The third round of joint US-UK strikes. Not an escalation, according to the Defence Secretary, Grant Shapps. Not a deterrent either, according to the Iranian-backed Houthis, who have been attacking international shipping in the Red Sea since this hijacking in November. They said today they are making a moral stand in support of Palestinians in Gaza. And more fires burning in the Middle East. Here, the aftermath of deadly US bombing raids on Friday in Iraq and Syria in retaliation for the killing of 3 American soldiers. In Baghdad today, a fleet of ambulances carry those killed by the US. 17 fighters from militias backed by Iran. Officially, they are part of Iraq's security forces, but in many ways, they are foot soldiers for Tehran. The US strikes have caused anger here. The government saying they have threatened the security of Iraq and the region. A red line was crossed by targeting our forces, says Falah al-Fayyad, leader of the militias. This must not be repeated. And the chant from the crowd, America is the greatest devil. They want US forces out.
These men have come to mourn and to honour their dead, victims of American bombing raids. But there is also a message in all of this. It's a show of strength, a show of unity, and a warning to the United States. We are here, and we're not going anywhere.
But the mood was muted, and there were no fiery threats of retaliation. Iran doesn't want an escalation in the tit-for-tat. Neither does Washington. While the war rages in Gaza, one false move could set the region alight.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has visited his troops fighting against Russia in the front lines and has presented them with medals.
He handed out medals to the soldiers in a bomb shelter before thanking them for their service and urging them to keep up the fight against entrenched Russian positions. His visit comes as speculation intensifies that he is poised to sack his popular army chief, Valery Zaluzhny. Rumours of the sacking have dogged the presidency in recent days, with some observers saying it could upset Western allies. Earlier, Russian-installed officials in eastern Ukraine claimed shelling by Ukrainian forces on the weekend had killed at least 28 people, including 9 women and a child, in a Russian-occupied town in the east of the country. Ukrainian officials haven't commented on the claim.
The United States is taking a more effective approach in securing the release of more hostages in Gaza.
Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor in Washington, says that the release of those hostages will be the #1 priority. And in fact, intriguingly, he has said that this is also in the US's national security interests to get this deal done. He talks about how there will be a ceasefire and that Hamas will then release these hostages. And so there's a renewed effort to try to get them. There's still about 130 hostages left in Gaza, and clearly the Americans, this is about the 5th trip by the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. They're clearly making a major effort to try to get the rest of the hostages, many of who are dual Israeli-American citizens. In the Netanyahu government, the Minister for National Security of all jobs, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has given an interview to the Wall Street Journal where he's unloaded on President Biden and says he's just not doing enough. He's too interested in giving aid to the people of Gaza, and that, in fact, they'd be much better off under Donald Trump. Clearly he's not the Minister for Foreign Affairs or for Diplomacy because these comments are incendiary. They won't go down well in Washington. And in fact, now 2 of the key ministers in this government, Itamar Ben-Gvir, the Minister for National Security, and the Finance Minister, Bezalel Smotrich, have both unloaded on President Biden in the last couple of days. Finance Minister Smotrich has said that Joe Biden's executive order against settlers, in fact, is an anti-Semitic lie. And so clearly now the right wing, who hold up the Netanyahu government, they prop them up, are now unloading on their strongest allies, the United States.
A deadly forest fire has swept across Chile in South America, killing more than 60 people and causing damages to homes and properties.
Emergency services have been unable to control dozens of blazes which broke out during a week of record high temperatures, high winds and low humidity. More than 1,000 homes have been destroyed. Up to 6,000 properties have been impacted in some way.
From one moment to the next, the fire reached the Botanical Park. In 10 minutes, the fire was already on us. There was smoke, the sky turned black, everything was dark. The wind felt like a hurricane. It was like being in hell.
We need help, food for our pets, supplies, clothes. I don't know, my house, I lost everything. Everything.
The fires started in a mountainous area northwest of the capital, Santiago, and have moved into the densely populated neighbourhoods of Vina, Del Mar and Valparaiso, two coastal cities popular with tourists. The President has declared a state of emergency and 2 days of mourning. He's warned the country should prepare for more bad news.
The official figure now is 64 people dead, but this figure will grow. We know it will substantially grow, but the figures we are delivering are those confirmed by the Forensic Medical Service.
The military has been deployed to help more than 1,400 firefighters on the ground. A 9 p.m. curfew has been introduced in the hardest hit areas and a health alert has been issued. Some residents are returning to survey what is left of their homes. Many describe a scene of total destruction.
Our hands are tied. Here is my workshop. We stay here. All the sacrifice. All in a lifetime.
National MTV News continues after the break with Tai Sports. Stay with us.
Tai Sports.
Welcome to Tai Sports. Southern Highlands province is ready to host the PNG Games commencing in September this year.
In a recent interview with Emtv, host organizing committee public relations manager George Cowie says the provincial and national government are geared up for the games.
And so the province is already aware that the abandoned game is coming back to the province. So the people are even more than happy. They can't believe that it's coming back after a massive amount of money, public funds were pumped in, and then all of a sudden the games were withdrawn back to Port Moresby. Then it's coming back. And like a lot of them are shedding tears of joy, like the CEO himself. He couldn't believe the game is going back.
He further stated that the people are also excited to hear that the games will return back to the province and are working together to embrace peace and unity.
It's peace and unity through games. We have a lot of issues in the province, as you can see on media. We'd like to use this opportunity to bring back the diversified, divided province back as one. It used to be. It used to enjoy before, back in the 80s, back in the 90s.
James Cooken, Tai Sports.
The Lay Softball Association is set to revive proper season competitions after the 3 years of setback due to COVID-19. 3 teams have confirmed their participation in the proper season slow pitch mix challenge. This was revealed by the organizing committee. Tai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Tai Sports.
You're watching Tai Sports. Moving to overseas sports, Katrina Gowrie produced another tireless performance yesterday for West Ham as they defeated Arsenal in the Women's Soccer League.
She was snapped up by the Hammers, specifically for her fighting attitude and non-stop foraging at the heart of the midfield as West Ham have attempted to avoid the drop. Her influence has seen the Hammers move away from the danger zone with 2 straight wins. You can see Steph Catley there giving away a penalty. Elsewhere, Mary Fowler only had 15 minutes of game time. She came off the bench for Manchester City in their win.
The New Zealand Breakers have defied injuries to secure a vital win in Perth, keeping the playoff hopes alive in the Australian National Basketball League.
Anthony Lamb limped off with a lower leg injury late in the first quarter and wasn't seen on court again, begging questions about his availability for the rest of the campaign. Regardless, the Breakers did manage to lead for the majority of the contest and won their 11th game of the year, 89-78. In the other match of the day, the Jack Jumpers were too good for the 36ers. 109-86 was how that all finished up. And with that win, they solidified their place on the table.
Australian cricketer Sean Abbott pulled off a great performance as Australia defeated the West Indies in their one-day international cricket test yesterday.
The West Indies had a chance to replicate their upset win from last month's second test. They won the toss and had Australia reeling at 4 for 89 in the 16th over, but enter number 8, Sean Abbott, who pulled the host back from the brink with the best score of his international career, cracking 69 from just 63 deliveries, helping Australia to a defendable target of 9 for 258. He was brilliant then with the ball, taking 3 for 40 and helping the Aussies restrict the Windies to just 175.
That ends Tai Sports. The Morning Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Tai Sports. Tai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with chances of brief morning drizzles. Daru, partly cloudy with brief showers. Kerema, partly cloudy with few showers and drizzles. Alotau, partly cloudy with brief showers and drizzles. Popondetta, few showers and drizzles. In the Momase region, Lae City, cloudy periods. Medan, cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Wewak, mostly fine with some showers. Vanimo, partly cloudy with few possible showers and drizzles. In the NGI region, Lorengau, partly cloudy periods with few showers. Kavieng, partly cloudy with brief showers and drizzles. Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy periods with brief showers. Kimbe, few showers, and Buka, some showers. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, brief showers, then morning fog. Goroka, Barnes, and Kundiawa, brief showers, then morning fog. Mendi, Tari, and Wabek, few showers, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 5th of February 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.